Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. It is Monday the 3rd of February, knee deep in the battles for our freedom. Luckily, the good guys and the bad guys know that silver is the Achilles heel of the bad guys, but it's mainly the Achilles heel for the global unbacked fiat monetary system, the trust and faith-based system that everything lies on top of. The stock market, the bond market, the foreign exchange market, all controlled by computers and derivatives to destroy that system, to remove the criminal market riggers out of the banking system, out of the United States of America, the U.S. Treasury. I'll get to that in a second. All we have to do is let the price of silver rise. Free market trading. I'm not saying, Trump, go in there and start buying silver because you're the one making sure that it is held down. And it should be no question as to why the cryptos were just slammed or why silver was slammed and came back. Trump is a market rigger. And you have to be a market rigger to keep the system afloat. If you remember, Christian Carlo, the head of the CFTC, came out and said, oh, yeah, we had to slam the price of Bitcoin down in 2017. It was the Trump appointment. And he said that him and Trump and the Treasury Secretary at the time, I think it was Mnuchin, and Michael Cohen, I think it was, or something like that, the head of the Council of Economic Advisors, it came out and said we had to pop the Bitcoin bubble or it would have just kept rising. I know many people whose fortunes were lost, whose wealth was destroyed in the 2017 pop, and the latest pop, it's going to be, I don't know how bad it'll be. It's a derivative market. The cryptos are dealing in derivative markets. You can tell that by the volume. Derivative market, just like the number you see right there, $31.23 is a derivative contract number. That's not the price of real silver. China's going behind the back of all the exchanges now and getting either a EMP, which is exchange for physical, which happens every day on the COMEX, that derivative market, to change it over to the LBMA, which is supposed to be a silver physical delivery market. Right here's the EFP for the first day of trading yesterday for the contract of, actually it might have been Friday. Yeah, this is Friday's number. The reality is next month is the delivery month. And we are going to, if we make it to March, if the system stays together to March, I think we'll see the largest COMEX deliveries ever made, but mainly, and that's not the real important thing, that would be like 85 million. COMEX is such a ridiculous joke on the physical side. They lie, they commingle silver with the ETFs and all that, so it is not available to JP Morgan, who is the custodian of that gold. Obviously, we know that JP Morgan is the number one rigger of gold and silver. They were literally busted for it by Trump because Jamie Dimon went against Trump's plans. So what Trump do? Said, okay, we're going to bust you for rigging the gold and silver market and the U.S. Treasury market. And it happened. They paid a $920 million fine and admitted they did it. Vindication for all us silver and gold lovers. Complete egg on the face for guys who don't understand manipulation. Jeffrey Christian being the number one mouthpiece of the manipulators. Big egg on the face. He barely even talks about it. Well, a couple of rogue dealers. Yeah, like, Harvey Oswald was a rogue shooter. Give me a break. Come on, people. Jeffrey Christian thinks we're all idiots. We're not. We called this long ago. I have written, go to roadtoruta.com and go to the search function and check out all the letters I wrote and the articles I wrote on the silver manipulation back in from 2008 to 2014. That's when Jamie Dimon and the riggers got busted for it. And it happened right after they took that massive silver short position off Bear Stearns' hands, who got it from, we went down the line. Drexel Burnham back in the 80s. which is the big, there's a couple others that entities went down because of it and had to be bailed out. But that silver short is still there. It's spread between Bank of America, HSBC. Not sure if Jamie Dimon still has it. They were able to squeak out of basically swap hands with someone else. Now all their silver deliveries are happening through their customer accounts only. But JP Morgan, they take delivery of the silver that they've been leasing out, basically right here. JP Morgan customers, that's how they get away from the regulators, as if they need to under the Biden administration. They might have to under the Trump administration. But Trump knows that, if silver goes, the entire world is different. Wait, I want to get to something real quick. I had a great chat with Jean-Claude and Snippy last night. And before I forget, I wanted to play you this one part. And it has to do with silver and immigration and kicking people out of the United States. So listen to what I have to say here.
That feels weird. What about you, Bix?
I got the answer. I know the answer. I've been screaming this for such a long time. Let the price of silver be freely traded. Mexico will be the most powerful and richest country on the planet. Everybody who immigrated here from Mexico, legal or illegally immigrated, is going to run back home. It's not fun to go to a new country where you don't speak the language. All your friends are not here, but you come here for the prosperity. The reality is, if silver was trading at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 an ounce, like it should be, they'd all go running home. Silver has the most. Mexico has the most silver on the planet. And I think that's part of the idea behind the 25% tariff, because we get 65% of our silver from Mexico and Canada. And both of them have been now, as of the 4th, will be taxed 25% for tariffs. Do you think they're going to give us any silver at all? No. The price of silver, if we still imported the same amount, would go to $39 instead of $31. I don't think they're going to send it to America. I think they're going to say, screw you, lock up the silver and let the price run. And then what happens? Everybody who immigrated over the past 4 years is going to run back home because all their friends and family are getting rich back home. It's such an easy thing to do. And all we got to do is, okay, open border and everybody's going to run back home. That's my two-step plan. Let silver rise and open that border and let them run home.
It's so obvious. And I do think that's 100%. No, not 100%. Let's say more than 50% of the reason that Trump is throwing on these tariffs, more than 50% of that has to do with silver and destroying the banking cabal and destroying the entire global monetary system. And for a fresh restart. The biggest problem, and the reason Elon can't help with his Doge and Trump can't help and nobody can help, is that we have 3 quadrillion in derivatives that you can't make go away. Every single one of those derivatives has a counterparty. And most of the too big to fail banks, that's exactly one of the main reasons they're too big to fail. If they do fail, the entire system implodes. You won't have a checking account. You won't have a savings account. You won't have a 401k. Anything held in a third party's possession, if you have an ETF, you won't have an ETF. I've even come out and said, hey, any storage outside of your own possession, you got maybe a chance. If the banks stay together, you might have a chance of keeping it. If they don't stay together, you probably won't be able to. It's the easiest place to confiscate for the government. And oh, by the way, those guards that are guarding your silver in a warehouse somewhere in the middle of America, they have family to feed too. They're not going to let their family starve and be guarding your silver while the shit falls apart. No. They'll go home to their parents and you have no guard. Or, go home to their kids and there'll be no guard. Or even more likely, they'll open the safe and say, oh my God, this company, we have to save our families, open all the gates and let's take all the gold and silver home, because there's no police, there's no military. It can't function without the continuance of the unbacked fiat monetary system, because you can't pay anybody. You can't pay any police officers if there's no money. They're not going to do it. They're going to protect their own people. They're going to go home. Just like everybody from Mexico is going to run home when silver is freely traded, because Mexico will be the richest country in the world, far richer than the United States, I believe, unless we have a lot of hidden silver. There's some hidden silver, but it's not that hidden. It's more like it's unmined silver. They've shut down so many silver mines that have really good amounts of silver in it. Now, gold, on the other hand, there's massive amounts of gold. There's so much gold, it is dripping out of the United States. That's why Trump keeps saying this is the golden age of the United States of America. He is literally going to open that spigot. Chocolate Mountain in California, when they flew all these congressmen out to see this gold discovery, I think they tapped into one of the hidden caves back there with massive historical artifacts of gold and that we saw in the remote viewings of the Grand Canyon. And then there's the Grand Canyon. The Colorado River has billions and billions of ounces of gold, placer gold. That's the little gold specks that you see that Alaskan mining for gold show. They dig up the sand and they pull out all the little specks. Well, the easiest place to get to now, other than Alaska, a really easy one, is the banks of the Colorado River. Billions and billions of ounces. There's mounds of this stuff. But Woodrow Wilson, after he signed the Federal Reserve Act, put the Grand Canyon into the national monument. It's a national park. You can't take a pebble out of the Grand Canyon, and they will bust you for it if you do. And there's so much more in that Grand Canyon related to the U.S. Mint. By the way, the U.S. Mint has not created a single silver or gold eagle in 2025. Not one. They might come back and say, hey, it's a glitch of the website. We didn't post anything. Ventures Gibson, as far as I know, is still the head. I don't know if Trump has appointed someone. It's going to be recommended by Scott Bassett. Or Bassett. This guy who was George Soros' number 2 guy. The head of the Treasury that Trump appointed. He would be the first to say the head of the Treasury is the most important person on the planet. To Trump, who's a business guy. That's the guy who makes the decisions. And he hands it over to a George Soros, the guy basically who helped fund the deep state fight against Trump. What the hell is going on, Mr. Trump? Are you perhaps setting this guy in a perfect place to be destroyed when the system falls apart? And then you can put in your real choice. I think I know who it is anyway. Judy Shelton will be probably the head of the U.S. Treasury or the head of the Fed. I think they will merge, though, this year. And we'll see. There's massive amounts of gold. We're ready to go on a gold standard whenever someone, sets off the starter gun. All of a sudden, we're going to go back to a gold standard because everything else will be destroyed. And that's how the mentality of what you got to think about. And even you people who hate cryptos, but understand gold and silver, it's the same concept. It's the same concept, except you got to think a little harder. Cryptos are standalone assets. If you have them in your own possession only, keeping your assets on Coinbase, Gemini, Binance, any of the exchanges, FTX, is the most insane thing. I can't believe so many people got conned into FTX to keep your coins there. No third parties. That's what the beauty of cryptos. You don't have to deal with the banking system. Hey, Joe, I want to buy your truck. Hey, Bix, that'll cost 1 Litecoin. Okay, good. Brand new truck. Just bought for 1 Litecoin. Banks know nothing about it. Government knows nothing about it. Why should they? This is my business. I'm an individual experiencing this soul in the physical form. Free will is the number one law of the universe, if you ask me. Number one. Free will. Does it come up with, make horrible people? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't have good if you don't have bad. It's the yin and yang for all you woo-woo people. We talked a lot about woo-woo on the show. I've also put it as the number one video right here on the Road to Ruta website. If you guys can't find his Rumble channel, Jean-Claude's, or definitely join his channel. And if you click on that, you'll go right to his channel, I think. Let's see. Yeah, Jean-Claude Beyond Mystics. So go to Road to Ruta, get a roundabout. It's embedded in my site, but it's really playing on his. So go check it out. Really interesting discussions about what we're literally coming into. And I'm not making this shit up. Like the people at XRP and Ripple or the quantum financial system or the Iraqi dinar or the 400 other solutions that I've heard over my 25 years of studying this shit. Yes, the system's going to fall apart. And no, nobody's going to get to decide what goes next. No politician and no banker, that's for sure. And by the way, we, the people of the United States of America, already have a system in place. We don't have to change anything. We just have to go back to the constitutional money using gold and silver. Now you can integrate cryptos. Absolutely, it's free will. If you want to buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. If you want to buy $1 billion worth of Theta Fuel, which would be probably your best investment, buy it. And you need some veritasium too, by the way. Reggie Middleton invented DeFi. Smart contracts is absolutely covered by Reggie's patent. Do with it what you will. How can Reggie collect on it? Who knows? Will Cliff High's data be right that the U.S. government comes to Reggie Middleton to say, oh my God, help us, after they abused him so badly? I would tell him, fuck off. But Reggie's not like that. All he wants is fair treatment. Does being black make the SEC treat him differently? Absolutely. And don't try to say it doesn't. Absolutely. And that has been proven time and time again. They'll say what they want. Oh yeah, we're diversity hire and blah, blah, blah. But you have a black man controlling the global financial system that they once had control of. They've gone apeshit. That's what happened to Reggie Middleton. That's why the U.S. government went in, shut him down, stole all his tokens, froze 98 million of his 100 million Veritasium tokens, and said, you can't deal in cryptos ever again. And then again, here's Ross Albright that Trump pardons, and all of a sudden he is out and about. Will Trump say, sorry, Reggie, you were treated unfairly. Go back and do what you were doing. Go back to the Jamaican Stock Exchange and implement what you were going to do before you're shut down by the SEC, the henchmen of the bankers. It was the SEC. So yeah, you need some Veritasium. Where can I get Veritasium, Bix? You can't. Well, there's a Trade Ogre has it supposedly. I don't know if you can get it off. But Bix, it says I can get Veritasium on Coinbase. Follow the links is not on Coinbase. Coinbase has links to swap sites, decentralized, and it doesn't mean anything if it's in your Coinbase account. I'm surprised they don't sell Theta already in Veritasium and just not have any tokens and do it. That's the criminality that we're dealing with. Whatever you have in your own possession is what you're going to end up with. Will it happen this year? I think absolutely. Did I think it would have happened in 1999 when I got into the mist? Absolutely. I did. I mean, if you were to tell me, given everything we know about how much money was created, how much cryptos are manipulated, how much gold manipulation, silver manipulation goes on, if you had told me back in 1999 when I started my little adventure here that we'd be in 2025 talking about the exact same thing, except so many milestones have been crossed since then. Will I have to wait another 25 years for so many more milestones? I don't think so. So yes, it should have collapsed in 2013 or 1913 with the creation of the Fed. The creation of the Fed wasn't about the bankers taking control. They did, mind you, it might have been about that for them, but it was about saving the gold standard, the unbacked or the backed. It's not even backed. It was a real gold standard. It went on in 1900. But the fake part about the real gold standard was they set the price of gold at $20, 20 US dollars, and it was redeemable back then. And then you created the Fed in 1913, and all of a sudden the dollar started changing because of the amount of money the Fed was creating. So the actual US dollar value became less and less valuable. And why did that matter? Because we set the price of gold at $20. So if you have mining costs, for example, in the Grand Canyon, there was a mini gold rush in like the 1900 to 1920. There was a mini gold rush. Everybody and their mother was going to the Grand Canyon, which was almost impossible to get to back then, and setting up gold mining operations and panning for gold and all that. And they were getting little specks of placer gold. Some people found massive, massive things in the Grand Canyon that I think are in military bases right now. The military is guarding parts of the Grand Canyon. You're not allowed to go into like 95% of the caves. It's so ridiculous. Why? Oh, they're unsafe. Screw you, government. I'll tell myself what's safe and what. It's unsafe to you if I walk in there and find Egyptian artifacts from 15,000 years ago, and there goes your narrative. That's the reason you can't walk around. And there's massive amounts of gold. And the U.S. military is in there. It's the Marines that guard it, by the way, in case you're wondering. And I do know a person I trust implicitly who has been there, who has seen it, and seen Egyptian artifacts. It's a horrible word for it. Ancient artifacts. Because, I mean, there's over, the word was 666 pyramids throughout the entire planet. Some are big, some have been completely covered up. Look up the Bosnian pyramid. And I think the valley of the valley floor of the Grand Canyon has all kinds of ancient destroyed pyramids. And you look at them, they're even named after pyramids, by the way. Egyptian, like Tower of Ra and all that shit. Yes, in the Grand Canyon. And if you flip over the $1 bill, what's on the back of it? It's a pyramid. Is that where they're storing all the gold to introduce it during the gold standard? Big shit going off the rails. I've been off the rails for a long time, my friends. It's the only way you can ever come to a correct analysis these days, is to go off the rails and do the homework and study. If you don't, you're going to believe what they tell you on MSNBC and CNN and the Wall Street Journal. It's all bullshit. They make this shit up to keep the system going. We have to keep the system going over and over. All right, so they tried to Sam silver. It went down a bit in the last 24 hours, and then it popped right back up. Strong resistance at 30. Look at it, right down. Why is this number right here, $31? Why did they try to spike it down to $31? Why did they do that, right? Here's exactly why. The moving averages. Where are the moving averages? Right up here. There it is. $31.04. They tried to blow it below the moving averages, which is right there. They tried to get it down below. Now, this doesn't show the detail because it's the 1 year chart. But they tried to get it, and they did. They got it just down below here, and instantly it popped back up. It bounced off resistance. Every time they go below any of the moving averages, India, China, and Russia are piling on, laughing all the way. Ha, ha, ha. They don't want this thing to end because they are winning. China is winning. Russia is winning. Winning. India is winning probably the most because the U.S. doesn't want to go to war with India. By the way, India imported approximately, according to my numbers, 285 million ounces. 285 million ounces. And actually, the metals focus, they had it wrong for a couple months, and they went back and changed their numbers. When you have historical numbers and you're the lone expert, you don't go back and change your historical numbers. I'm sorry. And he didn't hide it from me when I asked him. This is the head of the metals focus who gives their numbers to the Silver Institute for publication. He didn't hide it from me. He goes, yeah, sometimes we change our numbers when new information comes. And I'm like, so I put red boxes on the numbers they changed with their last report. Look at all the red boxes. These are historical numbers they changed to massage. And what it did, instead of saying the amount of silver used in solar panels was 387 million ounces, they said it was 193 million ounces. There was a 76% growth. That's just based on the growth of the installations, the solar installations. And they say, oh, no, it's thrifting. But thrifting is offset by the TopCon units that are going on that uses almost twice as much silver, and they get more output. But the problem is that everybody lies to everybody about everything. Meanwhile, all the physical silver is disappearing. It's disappearing. Hopefully, I hope to God, you have yours. You have your physical silver in your own possession, waiting on the side, hodl your silver. Crypto's for the future, And by the way, nothing's going to survive. It's not going to be a crash where we recuperate type of thing. It will be something like there's a problem at JP Morgan. JP Morgan has 50 trillion in derivatives. There's a problem with the 10,000 derivative counterparties, which include 99% of the banks. It's this whole thing is just waiting to collapse. That's why Trump put in this guy, George Soros' number 2 guy, Scott Bessent. It should be obvious to everyone. Let's look at his resume just to know how deep state this guy is. I always like to say, well, where did he go to? He was partner at George Soros Fund right there. And then he was founder of Key Square Group that lost massive amounts of money. As soon as he left Soros, he lost massive amounts of money. Then he went back to Soros, and then he went to Trump. But where did he go to school? Life and education. There he is. Bessent went and earned a bachelor's degree in political science from, drumroll please, Yale University. Woo-hoo-hoo, skull and bones, baby, all the way. and also in his career, where did he go after graduation? He went to Jim Rogers. I like Jim Rogers, but his partner was George Soros at the time. And he stayed with Soros, and Rogers ran away because he knew George Soros was evil. And then after graduation, he worked at where? Brown Harriman Brothers. Where have we heard that? Oh my God, that's Bush. Grandpa Bush worked there. Brown Harriman is just one evil place. They've been behind the legal aspects of the deep state and the controllers and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Crazy. And then he went back to George Soros in 2011 to be the main guy. He returned to Soros Fund Management from 2011 to 2015. And then Key Square Group was a joke. He lost massive amounts of money. And now all of a sudden, where is he? He's the head of Trump's, the entire United States Treasury. Talk about setting a dude up for failure. The whole system's going to fall apart, and they're going to look to Bessent to fix things. And there is no fixing it. There are no deciders. The world will be angry at guys like Bessent and Jamie Dimon and the bankers and the Treasury Department. Unfortunately, now at the U.S. Mint. We need to get David Ryder back in the Mint immediately, which will be his third term as Mint director. Him and only him should be the guy. Listen to my interview with the head of Silver Eagle sales for the U.S. Mint. It's a 3-part interview. Go to roadrooter.com. It's on the front page there. You scroll down a bit, and it's a 3-part interview. The U.S. Mint, is the U.S. Mint breaking the law? Part 1. Part 2, sourcing silver blanks and senior management roadblocks. And Part 3, list of ongoing illegal operations at the U.S. Mint. At the U.S. Mint, who can't seem to make a Silver Eagle in 2025. Maybe they're not going to. Maybe they're making them all for the new monetary system. There's a lot of maybes out there, but you always got to start with, this is a conspiracy, and I have to prove to myself that it's not a conspiracy. Instead of everybody else says, this is not a conspiracy, and then some of them try to prove that it is. I take the opposite route. Everything's a conspiracy. It's easier to deal with understanding that because the facts come up slowly over time. Like 9/11. It was a conspiracy. Not many people knew what was going on. And then over the years, I remember a movie called Small Change, which showed, holy shit, this is fake. So much of this it was a military operation run by the Mossad and all this shit and all the evidence that's come out now. You can't go anywhere and say, was 9/11 done by 19 hijackers, or was there something, was an inside job, as they say? Of course it was an inside job. One of the biggest proofs that's never been unproven is the free fall of World Trade Center building number 7 was never hit by anything, was far away from 1 and 2. And then while on the news, the BBC announcer, it looks like another building at the World Trade Center complex has fallen down. Buildings don't fall down. Even buildings that are on fire don't fall down. Everything was set to implode. Months putting those charges in, all the steel beams, everything. Even the firemen said there's all these explosions as we were running up, but they were below us. Time to wake up. Good morning. All right. So where are we right now? JP Morgan plans $4 billion U.S. gold delivery amid tariff fears. Yeah. A lot of people talking about all the gold that's coming in because of the fear of the tariffs. whatever you can blame whatever you want. So the tariffs will be in tomorrow, the 4th. The reality is whoever has the gold owns the gold, gets to keep the gold. And that goes for banks and US government and you as well. So if you pull in all your silver out of storage and say, now is not the time to have third-party storage, figure out how to do it. You know, if it takes making a withdrawal from your self-directed IRA, it's not illegal to do that. You'd have to pay taxes, I think it's a year from now to do that. But you'll have to pay taxes and penalties on it. But what will the world be like in a year? I don't think this shit's going to last that long. Trump's already starting to talk about no more income tax. We'll go to some kind of like VAT system like the UK has where you can make all the money you want. And the government's not going to steal it. If you want to spend that money, they'll tax you there. But we won't need that many people, especially with AI in the government. 30-something million people work directly or indirectly for government. In the U.S., that's ridiculous. How many will it be? 10,000 maybe? 99% of those jobs it's part of the reason they're purging is a computer can do it so much easier than any schmo who works for the government, who will spend 20 times as much money as needed. Trump has proven that by building SpaceX. SpaceX is one of the most profitable companies on the planet because the U.S. government is their biggest customer. And the U.S. government couldn't do it for a tenth of the price that Musk is doing it, getting satellites up there, getting his SpaceX and all that stuff that goes along with it. Getting his Starlink Wi-Fi up there. I think it's 44,000 satellites Musk has a plan to put up there. I think that's a recipe for failure because they're all low Earth type assets, low Earth satellites. China blows up, say, 1 or 10 of them. All of a sudden, at the same height, low Earth atmosphere, you got thousands of pieces of metal crashing into each other. It's like that the mousetrap game where you put 100 mousetraps down, you put a light ping pong ball on each one. And then you set off one trap and then and all of them go off. And then you have massive debris, which was also in Cliff High's data, that there's, for some reason, we have to clean up space. Massive amounts of debris all over. There already is, but it's so huge. Obviously, space is a lot bigger than what we're dealing with here on the planet. If here's our planet, this is where our satellites are. It's much bigger, much bigger. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love Starlink. I have it in my house. I have a mobile one for when we're on the road. It's big. But then Musk is saying, pretty soon we'll be able to do it on your telephone. And what's that good for? Have you heard of Theta? Have you heard of running a Theta Edge node on your phone? This is the future, though. Remember, cryptos are the future. For the now, silver. Silver's the only thing left. Silver's the bank killer, and silver's will either be used by the good guys or the bad guys to destroy the system. The good guys would be to destroy the banking system, destroy the bad guys that run our world, which is a noble endeavor. The bad guys would do it if, let's just say Biden won, the bad guys would do it also to destroy the system, take their booty, and run away. Because the jig is up, as they say. All right, go check out the entire woo-woo Jean-Claude discussion. Lots of good stuff there. Oh, by the way, Musk has already gone in and said, holy shit, this USAID has $40 billion budget. It's basically payoffs. Payoffs for friends and family, shall we say, of the CIA and the NSA and all that bullshit. The Clintons and the Bushes and the Obamas and the Bidens. That's payoff money. And Musk is just going to stop that. Now, That's not saying that all of it is used for payoff. They give it to widows and orphans as well, but not even close to, probably not even close to 95% of that gets to the widows and orphans. This is all slush money for the deep state. And that's going to be gone, which is good. So, airplane crashes. Yeah, it's real. Are they being taken over by remote control? You probably could do that. Definitely could do that. Anything electronic, they can get. I mean, that's why Snowden's still, in exile, because he said, "Oh my God, they're looking at everything. There's nothing hidden." And how much can they control in like a CNC device? Remember Stuxnet, when we wanted to turn off the nuclear plutonium or uranium factories? Are they factories? Yeah, it was factories. And we were able to click a mouse. The U.S. government, I believe, was able to click a mouse and shut everything off because they used the equipment of the United States to purify the uranium or whatever they were doing. And we shut it down with a click of a mouse. I believe it was the U.S. It might not have been the U.S. It could have been somebody else. By the way, did you know China bought IBM? So all the IBM devices out there, you're basically it's a Chinese spy machine. It's so crazy. And so I think the plane crashes do have something to do with that. And there could be false flags by the good guys or the bad guys. I don't know. But I do know that I want to call attention to the most famous plane crash that you've never heard of. Basically because it never happened. It was the first plane crash of a jumbo jet ever in 1956. In 1956, 2 airplanes took off from the same airport going to different destinations. Here are the red lines. And somehow, by a miracle, this is kind of like the Black Hawk helicopter running into the passenger plane, because Black Hawk helicopter going straight, and that passenger plane is lit up like a candle. It got more lit up when it got hit, but it's not like you can't see it. And it was purposeful. It was like that ship running into the bridge to take down the bridge. It was purposeful. It was done on purpose. Anyway, so these two, in 1956, this is the first mid-air collision of 2 commercial jetliners. Somehow, in a spot exactly over the Grand Canyon, exactly where Kincaid's Cave is thought to be, exactly where there's massive hidden amounts of gold in there. There's hidden gold everywhere throughout the Grand Canyon. So I told you about the placer gold that's in the sand. It's also been massive. The mother lode was found within the Grand Canyon, and it has been. Watch McKinnon's Gold, and you get an idea of what happened. They tried to mine it because it was a seam, kind of at the bottom of a mile long. You look at the Grand Canyon, most of the cliffs that fall off straight down for somewhat over a mile, straight down, over a mile down. Oh, by the way, a lazy or a raging Amazon what's it called? The Colorado River that goes through? Yeah. A raging Colorado River did not carve the Grand Canyon. That's a lie. You can tell because both sides fit together perfectly. It was separated by an energetic event. I think it was a exchange of lightning between 2 planets that were too close together and the sun. I've talked about this for quite a bit. People have done studies because Mars has the Valles Marineris, so whatever. It's the Grand Canyon. It's 10 times bigger than our Grand Canyon, but it looks exactly the same with the arms jetting out and the little the little tentacle type things. That's caused by an electric charge and the splitting of the land. Now, I also think or know that the Earth is expanding, and it doesn't expand slowly. We've heard of subduction zones, but they've never seen a subduction zone where the plate, supposedly like in Japan, the mid-Pacific, the Pacific plate supposedly submerges under Japan, and that's why they have all those big earthquakes there. And that's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Nobody's seen a subduction zone. What's happening is the planet is expanding. And there's some good videos on it. It looks really cool. And we don't, the planets don't revolve around the Earth as the Earth is moving thousands of miles per hour. They're being dragged in the coma of the sun. So the sun's going forward at, say, 135 miles an hour. It's not 130, like 150,000 miles an hour. It's going forward, circling around the Milky Way galaxy, and all the planets are spiraling behind the sun, being dragged by the gravitational pull of the sun. Where is this thing going today? Who the fuck knows? Thank you for joining Road to Rude. A lot of this stuff I'm risking by talking about on YouTube, but that's fine now. If I get kicked off YouTube tomorrow, I won't break a sweat over it, because YouTube has been bad to me. They've made me censor my speech. That's why I love the private road stuff that I do, because there's no censorship. I can tell you when a pedophile is being a pedophile, what really happened at Pizzagate, all the conspiracy theories that seem to be true. By the way, it sounds like Musk found the payments from the U.S. government, from USAID right here, that funded the Wuhan lab. So your tax dollar went to pay for COVID, which is fucking shocking. Anthony Fauci needs to go. So I whispered that. Shh, don't tell. Because they'll kick me off YouTube. I've already had 2 strikes before. This could be it. Will I post it? Will I post it on the private road or on YouTube? I think I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go on YouTube. Usually I'll just keep it on the private road. You want to join the private road? You can. Go to roadtorude.com. Click on subscribe today. Actually, we're currently giving away 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop loaded on a paper wallet. And right now, the cryptos are getting salamoed. It's not the big one. The big one's going to be shut down. There won't be any markets trading when the derivative bubble goes off, or when silver goes above $70, $80, $90. All of a sudden, they'll just shut down the exchange. And then if JP Morgan's in trouble, which they would be, they'd shut down JP Morgan. And all of a sudden, everything's just frozen in time, shut down. Like the Reggie Middleton tokens, frozen in time until something restarts again. The remote viewer guys saw this happening, I think they said in the spring of this year. Dick Allgaier had the spring. He didn't have it. The market goes down, but it comes back up like in 2008. We were hours away from the whole system stopping. I don't think Congress would agree to bail out anybody ever again. Ever. Now the FDIC might try to do it, and they have. A couple of these banks, and the Fed bailed out Silicon Valley Bank. But this would be much bigger and much more destructive. I think it's a big part of what's going on with the tariffs is to destroy the banking cabal. And oh, by the way, since there's it's 25% more expensive to bring in silver from Canada or China, or Mexico, where we get 65% of our silver. If it did come in to buy that physical silver, it would cost you $39 at the minimum, because yes, the price is $31, but you add 1.25 or times 1.25 gives you $39. That $8 would be the 25% tax. Those aren't exact figures, but that's pretty close to where it is. So physical silver right now, if you're a silver dealer, Andy Shackman, listen up. All you physical dealers, these taxes are going to affect the price of silver. Don't sell your physical silver unless you mark it up at least 25%, because we got 65% of our silver comes from Mexico and Canada. And on that note, I don't think it will be the tariffs that you'll be adding, because I don't think Mexico or Canada will give us an ounce of silver. Why would they? The most precious commodity on the planet. Why would they give it when we're going after them for 25% tariffs? Why would they give the United States any silver at all? So there goes 65% of our imports of silver, which are 65%. There's 170 million that we import. We consume about 215 million. We only mine about 32 million. somewhere around there, 35 million. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say, hey, all the things I've been saying for 25 years in silver, but then everything kind of changed with the invention when I found the Fed Roto-Rooter documents, because I'm like, holy shit, there's good guys behind the scenes trying to take out the banking cabal, and some of them are sitting there at the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Go look at my original discussions on the go to Roto-Rooter first page and scroll down again. Lots of great information, by the way. Oh, first page of the public road. This is free to everybody. You scroll down, keep scrolling down. Lots of good silver. There's the discussion with Jack Sermon at the U.S. Mint. There's a Cliff High discussion, the fate of silver and humanity. Go check that out, because that's about to happen, by the way. And then there's these two videos. What is the road to Rooter theory? That's Rooter right there. Wishes and Rainbows, the original comic book that the Fed said we have to go back to a gold standard, basically. That's coming out of the Fed. And then there's crypto oldies, golden oldies to the crypto future. I do think cryptos will be a much bigger part of the economic system than JP Morgan, the banking cabal, the stock markets. The cryptos are the future, period, exclamation point. I'm sorry if you don't understand them fully, and you don't really need to. Because if you got silver, you'll be able to buy a lot of cryptos. And that's the beauty of silver rising, to say, I think $600 would be the first stop where they're like, holy shit, okay, we got to close down the exchanges. And then you won't know what the value of silver is, and companies will be trying to go get it and just won't be available. Unobtainium, as Cliff calls it. Unobtainium. Let's see, what else? So back to this story real quick. So yeah, why did this plane crash over the specific spot in the Grand Canyon where Kincaid's cave was? It did. The planes didn't crash. This was a false flag type of operation. They scattered parts of planes around the Grand Canyon, and that was their reasoning for shutting down the Grand Canyon for 2 weeks, to withdraw massive amounts of artifacts and gold via heavy lift helicopters. It's all reported. They said they had to shut it down just to pick up the bodies and the plane parts. And you will see, if you go hiking in this area, it's near the confluence of the Colorado River and the Little Colorado River. You may find on trails little parts of airplanes. It's really bizarre. And I remember showing Dick Allgaier, when Dick Allgaier and the remote viewing guys were doing their remote viewing of the Grand Canyon. Dick kept seeing this strange object. He goes like, this doesn't even belong here. It's like, it's in a desolate area, but it's like a jet engine. They actually put an old jet engine in the Grand Canyon, as if that's what, like here, look at the picture of these two planes crashing. So one of these engines, an engine they put in the Grand Canyon, it's still there, I hear. Rusted, obviously. But the thing they screwed up with, it was the type of engine wasn't used in any of those planes. How many lies do we have to deal with? A lot. I love this picture. Steve Quayle. This is a great video, Forbidden History Revealed. It's about the Grand Canyon. That's exactly what was going on, basically. You got the heavy lift helicopters pulling out artifacts. They don't show gold in this, and I don't think Steve Quayle has talked about the gold. I do have this video, and you can get it. Has his website. It's safetrick.com, product Forbidden History Revealed. Just go Stephen Quayle, Forbidden History Revealed. It's the first episode. But he has a whistleblower also, by the way. And there have been quite a few whistleblowers, but this whistleblower is really good about the artifacts that the Smithsonian's been taking and hiding in their vaults in Washington, D.C., or just outside of Washington, D.C. Really cool stuff, interesting stuff with a whistleblower. And it's like the son of a guy who was involved. I think he was out of Flagstaff, which is like the biggest city closest to the Grand Canyon. Really, the Grand Canyon, what they want you to know is you stand on the cliff. next to the El Tovar Hotel, and you look over at it. There's another standing spot on the other side of the canyon. They don't want you to go down there. You can hike it. Amy and I hiked halfway down Bright Angel Trail. Fucking lot. Going down is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life. Coming back up, it's so brutal. It's so hard to get back, and we only went halfway. But yeah, people hike down to the bottom. On a hot day, you'll die if you hike down to the bottom. 120 degrees type of thing. Whew, crazy. All right, this is probably the longest video I've ever done on this subject, but hey, it's all good. Really good article here, and if you aren't thinking about how AI is going to affect you personally, and the investment world, and the money world, and the fiat world, you are missing something. And remember what Cliff said: you have to be dynamic, or you will die. You will die if you don't learn this stuff fast, change, make moves to put you in the right position, not only to live, but to thrive. I don't know what to tell you. If you're going to college, don't get a degree in law or accounting or really engineering. Hey, I can do all that stuff. Computer programmers, good luck. Good luck, computer programmers. I can go right now and explain an app I want to build to an AI protocol. I said, write me a white paper on an app that does whatever, and write me all the code, and then instantly it'll make it. And then you say, okay, correct the code if there's any mistakes. If this happens, this happens. I mean, there's some input, but it won't take much. You think it, and AI can spit out exactly how to do it. I had a big, long discussion with AI about magnetic power, using magnets, the repelling forces of magnets to spin a generator to create electricity. It was an amazing discussion I had. I loved it because you can question AI, and you'll get it right sometimes. Like when I talk to AI about silver, I go, I know where it loses when it starts looking at mainstream media type of stuff, or the Silver Institute comes up a lot on AI when you ask about silver, and Silver Institute is a fraud. And I'm like, hey, it's not hey Siri. I use Grok. I like Grok, which is the Elon Musk AI version. I also have Chat GPT, mainly for photos and stuff. But you go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, it's smart. AI is smart, but it needs to be coached about some things that we have discovered that AI has not discovered yet. But once it gets taught that, all of a sudden it knows. So does AI know that the price of silver is rigged by the banking cabal? Of course. Really interesting stuff. Crypto people are they're in hodl mode right now. I was talking to Snippy last night about it, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, you gotta lick the ice cream, and if you get in and out, and in retrospect, it's real easy to do, but it's also real easy to get caught out or caught long or short, either way." Snippy's felt that many times, and he's a trader, so he's gonna come in and out as he can. I don't know many traders in cryptos that have made money unless you're the controller. Now, once you're the controller, absolutely, you make a ton of money. Binance is probably the biggest rigger out there because they have so much. It's not like they need Bitcoins to trade Bitcoins on the Binance exchange. No, it's just high-frequency trading going back and forth and back and forth. What do you think Sam Bankman-Fried was doing? It's great while you're winning, and then you start losing, you lose everything instantly and more. And more. So if you buy good cryptos at any price, and you think they're going to last for quite a while, like Theta and Theta Fuel, even T-Drop these days, and then just hodl. Hold on for dear life. That way you won't have to go the emotional stress. Like all the newbies right now are shitting bricks. Oh no, I bought cryptos on a credit card. Huge mistake. Always a huge mistake. Because you can't, they can stay solvent longer than you can, right? So yeah, am I afraid that crypto is going to go away? No, I wasn't afraid when it went from $68 down to $15 in the last bear market. I wasn't afraid when the Trump team slammed it. I'd been through 2 or 3 of these crashes already. The only time I was really afraid was the first one I went through, which was I had Bitcoin at $1,000. I held it at $1,000. I said, this is going to change the world back in 2014 or whatever it was. And they slammed it back down to like, what was it? $100? $150? I sold all my Bitcoin. As it went down, I sold. Oh my God. Then it jumps back up. I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, it's such a crazy ride. But after time, you're like, why do I even play in this game? Why am I playing their game? They own the exchanges. They tell you what these prices are. Digital Currency Group is the worst at that. They own CoinMarketCap. They own the Bitcoin core developers. Digital Currency Group. Look it up. I'm sure they own XRP too. All you XRP lovers. I mean, how can you be an XRP lover, truthfully? It's a solution for the banks. Do you really want the banks to have a solution to their crimes? No, you don't. I'm done capping on XRP. But the sad thing is they make up these stories. Oh, they make up so many stories, and the XRP armies out there. You really think that Trump would let the owners of XRP take over the financial system? You think the BIS would allow some schmoes with XRP to take over the financial system or the Federal Reserve? Of course not. It's not rocket science what they invented back in. And by the way, it's a huge violation of Reggie's patent. XRP, by definition. Reggie explains how swap works in his crypto swap work in his white paper. That's basically what XRP, the core of XRP is, taking the place of the Swift system to transfer money. 100% violation of Reggie's patent. So we'll see. Reggie's patent is Trump has that in his back pocket, that he can come out and say, hey, we got this guy, Reggie Middleton, who owns a patent to all your bullshit. All you DeFi people, good luck. Is Theta in violation, Theta Labs in violation of Reggie's patent? Yes. On some of their offerings. Absolutely. Reggie doesn't want to end DeFi or end smart contracts. He doesn't. He just wants his share. And that's what the bankers didn't want, so they had the SEC take him out and say, I'll never deal in cryptos again. But like we saw with Ross Ulbricht, the guy who, is his last name Albright? I might be saying that wrong. The guy who invented the Silk Road, a platform where anything goes, and he was in jail for, like 3.5 life sentences type of thing. And Trump just pardoned him. He could do the same thing with Reggie Middleton. Hey, Reggie, sorry they were assholes to you. Here's your 98 million tokens back. And, oh, by the way, can you help us? Because the exchanges, nobody trusts the exchanges anymore. Or that nobody is allowing Seed and Company to control everything because everything crashed. Seed and Company will be gone. Whoever owns it will be gone. If she might already be gone, Queen of England. Nobody really knows who owns Seed and Company, but they keep all the stocks, bonds, currencies, everything. Your home mortgage, your car mortgage is held in the name of Seed and Company. They say, oh, that's just the street name. Bullshit. That's read Deep Web, I think it's called. But I was talking about this shit years ago at the DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, when they flooded the vault at 55 Water Street. Hurricane Sandy, I think it was. $35 trillion in documents were flooded, supposedly. Somebody left the gate open. Michael Dunn left the gate open, basically. Michael Dunn is an ex-CFTC chairman, the dumbest man on the planet, and then he was put in charge of the vaulting at 55 Water Street. Left the door open, Hurricane Sandy came in, flooded the entire thing, the original documents, original bonds going back a zillion years. And if that wasn't enough, they set it on fire then. And it was closed for, what was it, over 20 days or something, and so the deep state could go in and change documents and take documents or say, I don't know what happened, that prove it. Prove there's swaptions as they call them, on derivative markets. Yeah, good luck. Anyway, I'm not stopping yet. I'm enjoying my conversation with myself. Cryptos, yeah, they'll bounce back. Will they bounce back before the crash? Like I said on the Snippy show, Bitcoin will either be minus $40. That's a mouse click, like they did with oil. Minus $40 or $1 million. That's a mouse click, like they did with Volkswagen stock. Remember that? And Volkswagen stock went crazy for a while because there was a short and they wanted to get them out. So in a derivative market, if you control all the derivatives, the United States government has no limit on the amount of derivatives they can control. The Exchange Stabilization Fund, that's all they do. The basement of the U.S. Treasury, there's a basement in the U.S. Treasury that has a trading floor for market rigging operations, along with the New York Fed, and they coordinate with the big bullion banks. It takes a lot to keep this house of cards going. All right, so yes, definitely, I want to get back to the Grand Canyon. I don't know if I'll be the one to find what the remote viewer saw, which was caves of gold. But I do think that at least the people of the world will find out there's massive amounts of treasure out there. Yamashita's gold, absolutely true. That's over 300 million tons, 300,000 tons. When guys like Jeffrey Christian and Gold Corp and all the entities that report on gold say there's only 2 football fields, 210 million ounces of gold 210 million tons of gold have ever been mined in the history of humanity. Bullshit. Total and complete bullshit. There's millions of tons of gold. There's not much silver left. And silver, remember, silver gold ratio right now is 88, 89 to 1. Insane. And that's why you got to get in a position to hodl. If you can wait for the truth to take over, you'll do just fine in the future. And again, AI, and this is article, I was talking about AI. You have to understand AI. It talks about how AI is now coming into the markets, and that will be the downfall of all markets. Jim Rickards recently published a compelling article on AI risk for Insider Intel subscribers. In it, Jim discusses a different way in which AI could crash markets, one that is totally separate from DeepSeek, China, and NVIDIA angle, which we've been covering in the past week. Today, we're going to review some of his key points. And here's Jim. Quote, the ultimate danger arises when a large cohort of asset managers controlling trillions of dollars of assets all employ the same or similar AI algorithms in a risk management role. An individual robot working for a particular asset manager tells the manager to sell stocks in a crashing market. In some cases, the robot may be authorized to initiate a sale without further human intervention. Taken separately, that may not be the best course of action for a single manager. In the aggregate, a selling cascade with no offsetting buy orders from active managers, specialists, or speculators takes stock prices straight down. Amplification through feedback loops makes the matter worse. Individual AI systems have various trigger points for selling. Not all will be triggered at once, and yet all will be triggered eventually as selling begets more selling, which triggers more automated systems that add to the selling pressure, and so on. There are no contrarians among the robots. Building sentiment into systems is still at its primitive stage. The risk is clearly real. We now know that the point where trading firms are integrating large language models, AI models, into their proprietary algorithms. I mean, the algorithms are bad enough. We've seen flash crashes all over. Now you have AI running your algorithms. That's a recipe for disaster. Perhaps DeepSeek approaches trading in a completely different way. What happens if ChatGPT interprets data bullishly, but DeepSeek sees the same information as bearish? This means that the release of a cutting-edge new model could actually change the market's direction. It's newer, it's smarter, and it thinks stocks are overvalued by 40%, sell. Or perhaps even more disturbing, what if the leading models come to a very similar conclusion? Everybody's deciding to buy or sell at the exact same time is a recipe for trouble. It would magnify moves on the way up and the way down and could create a nasty feedback loop. 70% of markets today, algorithmic software-driven trading accounts for estimated 65 to 70% of the American stock exchange volume, and this number is only increasing. I would say on the COMEX, that's 90 to 95%. On silver and gold, probably 99 to 99.9% is derivatives trading back and forth. And you can see it in the volumes. I mean, here's the volumes. Silver volume. Yesterday, how much silver traded yesterday? 74,000 contracts, which would be 320 million ounces in a single day of bots trading back and forth. I've seen it at 2 billion ounces in crazy time. So it's coming. This is what they call the end game. How does the end game work, Bix? Stuff like this. And then what would happen is everybody would freeze up because you've liquidated all these positions, and especially those who went on margin won't have the money to pay it back. Remember, you can lose unlimited amounts of money by being short. If you go long, you can only lose your investment. If it goes to zero, you lose your investment. If you go short, every tick of the mouse, you lose. And then all of a sudden, you get automatic margin calls, pushing the price down even further. And oh, by the way, if it's a crash of the markets like 2008, but it's not a destruction of the markets, but the banks are going to have to sell assets. What are the number one and number two assets that banks would be selling in that scenario? It's the most liquid assets. What is the most liquid that they don't even want to hold anyway? Bitcoin. Everybody who said, oh, it's so great, there's going to be Bitcoin ETFs. No, it's not great. That's the big guys getting into Bitcoin to rig it. And oh, by the way, when they collapse and disappear, because they're hyper leveraged, fractional reserve system, remember, they'll be selling Bitcoin. If they hold any Ethereum, they'll be selling Ethereum. The big guys only hold a couple cryptos. What's it going to do? And then you got AI bots in the crypto market. It's all a mess. And I don't think the banks have much silver at all. Physical silver. China does. India does. The people of India do. I don't think the banksters have all that much silver. They trade a lot of silver and they have a massive short position. But that's why JP Morgan rigged the market from 2008 to 2014, was to rig the market, the derivative market price lower. In the meanwhile, they were loading up, stocking up on physical silver. It ended up with over 1.2 billion with a B ounces of physical silver, 10 times what Warren Buffett had. And then they got busted and had to lease all that silver out to Bank of America, HSBC, all the criminal banks, and let the games keep going. Where's that physical now? Who knows? Does Warren Buffett have it? Probably a lot of it. Does Elon Musk have it? Probably a lot of it. Does the retail investor in America have it? No. It's dead. That market is dead. Why is it dead? Because retail investors only chase things that are running. Wait till silver bumps over $50 and goes to 60 and 70. Everybody and their mother says, how do I get silver? How do I get silver? It'll be a panic. It's the fire hose into a Dixie cup. Fill this Dixie cup. I'll bet anybody they can't fill the Dixie cup with a fire hose turned on. I can do it. Pew. All of a sudden, just a little drop. Pew. You can't do it. The Dixie cup and the whole thing is like a fire hose into a funnel type of thing. There's going to be no buyer, or the shorts will have nobody to take their position. Remember, every short has a long. If the shorts are getting destroyed and the price of silver is going down and down and down, other way, going up and up and up, the shorts have to cover. That means they have to buy silver, but at the same time, someone's got to take the other side of that contract. Somebody's got to go short or a seller. If the price is running, there are no sellers. There are none. They could buy and sell to themselves like they have been doing. But everybody knows the game is rigged and how it's rigged. And now they're playing the game. And the game is moving averages on the derivative market right here. Look at that. Bang and bang. The moving averages currently are 100-day, 200-day. Right here. Oh, wait, where'd it go? I lost my 200 days. It's $31. 100-day is 31. 200-day, sorry, 100-day is 31. 200-day is 30. I don't know what happened to my... I'll add it later. But that's what this game is. Everybody knows the game. It's not real. Nothing's real. All right. I've worn myself out. Go to roadtoroota.com. Listen to this discussion I had with Jean. Oh, by the way, it's official. I'm coming out of retirement. There's going to be a show in Ottawa, Canada. Ottawa, Canada. Go to Jean-Claude's site. You get through here if you go to Beyond Mystic. And I think he has more. I know he has more information on it, the dates and what hotel and things like that on his site. I think it's beyondmystic.com. .net. Beyondmystic.net. Woo woo, where is the woo 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 woo? Conferences. Here we go. There's the conference. It is March 14th, 15th, and 16th in Ottawa, Canada. I will be bringing my guitar, but not all my rig stuff. So I'll be playing and chatting. Andy will be there. Penny Kelly will be there. I'm really excited. It's going to be fun. Jenny's going to be there. And all Jean-Claude's stable of women and men, astrologers and stuff like that. Go check it out. Anyway, if you're interested, Ottawa. It's a haul for me, but I couldn't miss it. I've said no to JC too many times. It's going to be a good time. Amy's coming, and we're going to have a blast, a freaking blast. That's all I got. Go to roadrunner.com if you want to get all the behind-the-scenes stuff. Check out all the crap I've been writing since 2010. Go to subscribe today. Actually, the website has up to 2010. Most of that is articles on manipulation. I go through, to find the stuff, you got to do a search because they're not labeled by date. You got to do a search for stuff. So if you want a search on silver manipulation, there is 1,117 articles on silver manipulation. Outstanding silver issues pile up at the CFTC. Silver manipulation quiz. I love this quiz, by the way. Go take the quiz. Silver's fat finger. I mean, there's thousands of them. And then about 5 years ago, I went on to YouTube, so I didn't write much anymore. But all the YouTube stuff is on the private road. For Road to Ruta people, if you want to go check it out, go to roadtoruta.com. Again, we're giving away 5 Theta 50 T-Fuel, 500 T-Drop. Don't have to know anything about cryptos. Take the piece of paper, stick it in your vault where you're hodling your silver. Voila. You are officially into cryptos. That's all I got for you. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. I'll talk to you later.